Good afternoon, good morning. This is Mark Johnson from Loyalty360. Hope everyone's happy, safe, and well. I want to welcome you back to another edition of Loyalty Live. In this series, we have the pleasure of speaking with leading agencies, technology partners, and consultants in customer channel and brand loyalty about the technology trends and best practices that impact a brand's ability to drive unique experiences, enhance engagement, and most importantly, impact customer loyalty. Loyalty Live allows for a deeper insight, a deeper assessment of the state of customer loyalty, as we often surface challenges that brands and marketers have with regard to customer loyalty. We speak to them on a daily basis. They're members of Loyalty360, so we get a unique perspective on some of the challenges and opportunities for the customer loyalty industry. But it's also great to be able to take these challenges and opportunities back to some of the leading consultants, agencies, and technology providers in the industry to get their perspective. And today we have the pleasure of speaking with Dennis Reardon. He is the head of loyalty solutions for Mastercard Data and Services of North America. How are you, Dennis? Well,
Mark, how are you?
Good, good.
Sorry, nothing like that.
No problem. The pleasure of technology for sure. We always like to start these off on a more personal level, get an understanding of the person we're speaking with. So we'd love to know a little bit more about you, what you do at Mastercard, and maybe a fun fact about you. Do you like to, go scuba diving? Are you an extreme skier? Maybe what's a passion point of yours?
Yeah, sure. So I look after our loyalty business here in North America at Mastercard, so that my remit spans across both our card and non-card loyalty business. So I have the pleasure of working with a great set of partners and customers and colleagues every day to improve people's experience with the world's leading brands. And personally, I am an outdoorsman. I when I'm not working, I'm not caught inside the four walls of any of my house. So you can, my distinct passion is racket sports. So I played college tennis for Boston College, go Eagles, and still play to this day to the extent my ailing joints allow.
That's awesome. And for those who may not know, I'm sure everyone's familiar with Mastercard. They probably have one or two or three in their wallet. But for Mastercard Data and Services, can you tell us a little bit more about what you guys do and how you do it?
Yeah, sure. So Mastercard Data and Services is a subset of Mastercard that really has a portfolio that is kind of spans beyond the transaction. So we provide customers across a pretty wide array of industries and geographies with a tailored portfolio of solutions to address a pretty wide set of pain points. And our portfolio is broken into four main groups. One piece of it is data and analytics. So it harnesses Mastercard's powerful analytics platforms that enable organizations to make better, faster, real-time decisions based on things like anonymized and aggregated transaction data and our own proprietary analysis. We've got Mastercard Advisors, who is a consulting team that works with our customers to uncover data-driven insights and also can be a part of actually the direct execution of things like marketing programs. Loyalty Solutions, which is the piece I cover. So we're kind of a one-stop shop of proprietary SaaS technologies, industry expertise, and a rich partner network that bring a pretty broad and deep set of verticalized insights to our clients, and then finally managed services that help customers achieve in-market results that help customers deploy data and expertise to deliver marketing campaigns and engage consumers and drive ROI. So specifically with loyalty, our main focus is to make sure that that organizations who need help designing the best-in-class loyalty program for their vertical get the help they need and the platforms to execute with the strategy.
Okay, great. When you look at the Loyalty Expo, you gave a great presentation on the intersection of loyalty, CRM, and transactional insights. Can you tell us a little bit about the presentation and maybe a few key takeaways that attendees received from the presentation?
Yeah, sure. So the presentation really centered around a few key, kind of around this dilemma of how to create winning loyalty programs by leveraging the vast amount of customer data that may be available both in-house for a lot of our customers, and partners, but also the information about those customers that exists outside of their four walls. So the thematic that I centered the presentation around was the notion that, there's a very high percentage of companies that have a loyalty program today. But there's a very low percentage of those loyalty programs that are met with the level of satisfaction that the loyalty program was intended to deliver, and an even lower engagement rate of people who actually interact with those programs on a daily basis. So the intent of the presentation was to really capture, number one, what is it that are holding people back, whether it be the inability to rapidly act on commonly available customer data, obviously kind of the endless sea of MarTech that's out there, and how to piece that together, or even anything like the organizational inertia or the industry regulations that are really challenging to contend with. And so what we did was I sought to walk clients through some approaches that we've used with some of our best customers to help them navigate around some of those challenges and deliver the outcomes that they want.
Okay. And you lead both the US and the Canadian markets, Mastercard efforts around tender neutral and card loyalty products, as well as services. I know it includes a broad range of SaaS services. You talked about the loyalty strategy and customer experience consulting you have with Mastercard advisors, and you also work with delivery and other client success efforts. Can you tell us some more about those services and how they help you assist the clients of Mastercard? And for those who may not know, who are the clients of Mastercard?
Sure. It's probably easier to answer who are not clients of Mastercard in one form or fashion. So we certainly work with a lot of the world's leading brands. But just to give you, I think your first question, Mark, was what are the solutions that comprise our portfolio? And so I think at a high level, but kind of by the numbers, we've got 1,000+ loyalty professionals to put to work on programs. Right, we're actually like not as widely known, but we're one of the largest loyalty agencies, if you will, in the world. We've got more than 350 billion points under management. We've executed on more than 400+ custom programs for our clients that span across both card and non-card. And from a functionality perspective, we can bring, number one, the ability to identify what the opportunity is by looking at the transaction insights that flow through the Mastercard rails on a day-by-day, second-by-second basis, as well as leverage those insights to then drive the right outcomes and the right tactics to personalize experiences for customers. So, in a nutshell, it's a set of SaaS platforms, it's a set of consulting, and a vast amount of data brought to kind of smashed together in very bespoke ways for our clients. Okay.
And you mentioned technology. Technology is very important around customer loyalty, but the services, the consulting, the insights, creating unique strategies are very important for brands. As customer loyalty is more important than ever before, how do you help them make smarter decisions with their data, with the insight that you have to, impact or affect better outcomes for their customer loyalty efforts?
So I think the short answer is we use a number of different what we call playbooks, and we obviously deploy things like human-centered design that really seek to put the customer at the center of any strategy that we come up with. And our philosophy is that the first step towards excellence is a reality check. It's figuring out where you are from an organizational readiness perspective. So we have the ability to categorize customers based on levels of maturity, degree of engagement, degree of understanding about their customer, and then based on what category or micro category they fall into. We then have a very bespoke playbook that looks at how are they doing from a automation perspective? Are they leveraging analytics? Is their customer data federated? Are their marketing teams doing kind of spray and pray approaches to the way they market to their customers, or is it very bespoke and individualized?
Okay. When you look at technology, we have an analyst process. We assess different technologies. We do a lot of work when brands are looking for the right technology, but it's a huge challenge for brands when they're looking to implement a successful customer loyalty or CRM process. How do you address some of those challenges? There's APIs, there's integration to the point of sale, there's getting first party, zero party, third party data. How do you help them create efficacy with some of the technology challenges that are out there today?
Yeah, I think it starts with putting outcomes first. So if you start with the technology, then it can sometimes become the notion of a bad golfer with really good golf clubs, versus if you look at the outcomes that an organization wants to drive at the outset, right, and design a strategy and design the technology around those outcomes, everybody gets aligned from the jump, and there's no misunderstanding when you get farther along in a project or an activation or a launch of a program. There's no misunderstanding about what the outcomes are if they're defined at the very beginning. So our philosophy is, with the rise of the API economy and just kind of democratized ability to integrate platforms together and get them to sing in harmony with one another, like we do all the time with our partners at Adobe and Salesforce and others. It really comes down to, okay, what are you trying to achieve as an organization? Are you trying to reduce churn? Are you trying to get your traveler to book a visit through a direct channel versus an OTA? Are you trying to increase the average basket size if you're a retailer? So I think defining what those outcomes are at the outset will really help steer the variety of technology decisions that come with evaluating technology. Because, Mark, I'm sure, as you know, it's a bit of an alphabet soup when it comes to, CDPs and ESPs and the like.
Absolutely. Yeah, it can be very challenging. And then we have something called the logo jungle. And when you run an RFI, RFP, which we help brands do, you'll see a number of clients that some of the providers will bring up, and it could be a Dick's Sporting Goods or a Giant Eagle. And we know those guys very well from members. I'm like, are you sure you run Dick's program? Oh, maybe we don't run their program, but we did a short program with them in 2018. So it makes it very difficult for brands to find the actual provider that does what they say they do.
That's right.
So can you give an example of how Mastercard has helped a client improve their brand or customer loyalty program?
Sure. Yeah. So we have a retail brand in North America that well-known fashion retailer, 4 or 5 logos under their top level umbrella. And they had a very siloed approach to loyalty, depending upon which brand you were talking to. There was a lot of organizational dynamics between those brands. And they came to us and they said, we've got an existing program. It's beginning to show its age. It is underperforming. We're starting to become more aware of the metrics around it. And we need some help, both from a technology stack and a strategy perspective, to relaunch the program and help us think about how we incorporate the multiple brands that fall under that umbrella. And what we did was we began by mapping out, we did a loyalty program diagnostic. So we started off by diagnosing the state of their current loyalty programs across their different brands. And then in parallel, we actually, they were in the process of evaluating a CDP as well as a loyalty platform. We happen to have an alliance with that particular CDP, as we do with most CDPs. And we were able to quickly create a reference architecture for how the technology could look. But we swiveled back to the strategy very quickly as well. And since then, we've redesigned their program to make it, kind of universal across those different brands. We've brought them through activation and launch. They just went live with our loyalty platform on 2 of those 4 brands in the last 3 months. And we're actually helping them on the back end with marketing execution, because unfortunately this particular brand had some downsizing that took place during COVID. So they needed some help with, outsourced campaign management, loyalty program performance management. So we designed, delivered the program. We're the tech running the program, and we're actually the boots on the ground writing the loyalty business rules that are creating the automation that actually runs the program day to day and helping design the campaigns.
Okay, great. Personalization is a huge area for brands with regard to customer loyalty, the right message, right content, right channel, but also being able to do it in a simple and measurable manner. What are the challenges or opportunities you see with regard to personalization in customer loyalty?
Yeah, so it's a spectrum. I think people are at a variety of different places in their journey, right? And I think that those who tackle it the right way try not to bite off more than they can chew at the outset. So the ones that we see working well are the ones that have a kind of a stark realization of where they are in the process. So, maybe they have a sense for where they want to get to. They know what their blind spots are, but they're not trying to get there overnight, right? Maybe it is a phased approach. So I think that generally the ones that are more challenged are the ones that have unrealistic expectations of, hey, I'm a retailer and it's the fall and I want to launch a new program by January. Well, have you thought about the code freezes that take place from a technology perspective? Have you thought about the organizational dynamics to launch that program? So I think, making sure that you, number one, understand what personalization means to your organization and how you want to deliver it at scale really matters. And then obviously realizing that there are things that come before personalization. There's advanced segmentation. There's a couple steps along the way that get you to full-blown audience of one level personalization. And those who, embrace the fact that it's a journey as opposed to point A to point B are the ones that usually overcome the hurdles. Okay, great.
And then the last question we have is, there's a great deal of discussion around customers changing, how COVID may have impacted that, or even accelerated some of the changes. What do you see as some of the ways that customers are changing, and how does Mastercard help the brands you work with from a customer loyalty perspective adapt to those changes?
Yeah, so we often engage, as you might suspect, with a lot of our co-brand partners. So people who have a card in market with us. And what we often see is that many of those co-brand partners of ours also have a non-card loyalty program. And so what we're seeing a big trend around is how do I link my non-card loyalty program and create a feeder system for my card program? If ultimately that's the goal, or it's how do I get those two programs to work in harmony with one another? And back to what I spoke to on outcomes, it's all right. If I've identified a set of outcomes and I've got a loyalty construct in place, how do I get a card and non-card program to work in harmony with one another? Or how do I turbo boost my existing tender neutral or non-card program?
Okay, great. And when you look at customer loyalty, what's the next big thing for customer loyalty?
I wish there was only one thing. I'll tell you, I had a great time down at your conference, Mark, and the one thing that a lot of people approached our booth with some really interesting ideas around the types of currency that's being put into place from a loyalty perspective. So being able to reward not just in the currency of tiers or dollars, but we're hearing a lot of interesting things. And some of my peers were texting me while I was in Charlotte. A lot of my peers were out at Money 2020 in Vegas, and I heard a lot of chatter around ideas like crypto as a currency for loyalty, or slices of that company's stock as a currency for driving loyalty. So I think diversity of loyalty currency is one thing, and then in certain verticals, this whole notion of points fungibility is just becoming more of a hot topic, specifically in travel, but we're seeing it as we expand across multiple verticals.
Okay, great. Well, Dennis, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us today. It was great to get to know a little bit more about you. And also, it was a great overview of some things that Mastercard is doing in the customer loyalty and customer experience space. Very holistic and very unique in your approach. So thank you very much for taking the time to educate us around that offering. It's great to know.
Always a pleasure, Mark. Thanks for the time.
Absolutely. And thank you, everyone, for listening. Make sure you join us back next week. And I think we're going to have basement market research. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful day and look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks.